friends, now I'm going to discuss about another part of liberalism of international relation, and that is known as neoliberalism. So the process of neoliberalism started after 1970s with the advent of globalization. With the starting of the concept of the emergence of globalization, some of the political scientists who at that time argued that with the emergence of globalization, the economic process of nation state as well as international system are going to change, and they all these thinkers are in favor of globalization. So they said that under the impact of globalization, people are going to witness several changes in national economy as well as in international field, and those thinkers are generally termed as neoliberalist thinkers, and um, they were they are also in favor of individualism, but they move a step forward than earlier liberalist thinkers because of this impact of globalization. And I am saying you clearly that they are very much in favor of globalization. So they said that economic liberalism is marked by free trade and globalization. That means if you are interested to follow the policy of economic liberalism, you should have to support globalization and you should have to adopt free trade. There should not be any trade barrier, and economic relations should be open, and there should not be any license system. Individual will have to get free opportunity to compete in the economic field. Then they are also said that minimum state interference in economic life, and they have rejected the Keynesian model. Actually, Keynes, he said that state interference is necessary for production and distribution, everything, but they said that so far as economic life of the people is concerned, there should be as minimum as possible of state interference, and there should be free competition, open competitions, and there should not be any subsidy or like that. Only those who are the real competitor, they will remain in the field. And they also find out that failure of laissez-faire state to remove state control in economic life. So in earlier period we know about that laissez-faire state. Laissez-faire state is another name of individualistic state, where the thinkers put stress on individual rather than the state. But these neoliberalists, they were not at all satisfied with the condition of laissez-faire state, because they said that during that laissez-faire period, or during the time of supporting the individual also, the state control was there, particularly in economic field. So they said that we should have to come forward, we should have to discard the laissez-faire system, and we should have to establish much more independent, what I can say, the condition for the individual so that they can survive properly. Then they have criticized the concept of welfare state, because all of you are aware of the fact that democratic country first came into existence, and after that most of the democratic country, they turned themselves into welfare state. So what is welfare state? Welfare state means maximum functions of the state. That means state will interfere. Okay, they will do good for the people, for their all-round development, but for doing that good, they will interfere in each and every aspect of the individual. So the neoliberalist thinker, they said that we are not supporting welfare state. No need of welfare doing by the government. People themselves can able to do their welfare, because they said that welfare state resultant what? Breed in inefficiency and corruption, because if everything is there in the hands of the government, then automatically inefficiency will develop, because what happen in government organization is becomes everybody's business is nobody's business. So people are getting their salary, so they are not thinking about their efficiency and all these things, and corruption is also there. Most of the countries we find, especially in the third world countries, the bureaucrats and the public officials are very much corrupted. So they said that if you increase the power of the state, corruption and inefficiency will increase. So they are not in favor of the concept of welfare state or maximum power of the state, especially in the economic field. And they said that free trade ensure domestic and international peace and security. If there is free trade system, if there is no trade barrier, if there is no tariff, then what happen? We can establish free economic relation with all the countries, and all of us are aware of the fact that economic relation actually control other relation. If we are economically satisfied, then other relation will automatically become smooth. So they said that if there is free trade, that will bring domestic and international peace and security. If we are economically developed, there will be less dissatisfaction among the people, and if we establish economic relation with other countries, then there is less chance of attacking of our country by other countries. Then states are engaged in economic development process and shy away from war, because all the states are busy with economic development of the country, how to maintain trade relation, how to improve international trade, how to establish new international economic order, and they forget to compete with each other, particularly to attack one another. Then free trade can best thrive in democratic system, as it secured human rights and basic freedom for the people. So in a dictatorial country, it may not be possible that free trade will flourish or it will become successful, because in a democratic country they have recognized number of human rights and number of basic freedom to the people, and in that process they will give the people the economic rights also, and state will interfere less in the economic affairs, and in that process we can say that the democratic country is a precondition of free trade. Then another thing is that they were very much benefited. That neoliberalist thinkers, they are very much benefited to establish their views in this world by citing the example of disintegration of Soviet Russia. They said that in Soviet Russia there was no economic freedom, all production, distribution, all the systems are controlled by the state, there is no private property, etc., etc. But what happened? Ultimately Soviet Russia was disintegrated in 1989. So this clearly proved that state controlled economy is not the need of the hour, and it also proved the merits of the free market economy. So they cite the example of disintegration of Soviet Russia and Eastern Europe, and they said that nowadays we must have to follow the system of free market economy. And in the 21st century, cooperation and interdependence of the state is possible only through globalization. They are clearly saying that we are in favor of globalization, and through globalization only interdependence and cooperation among the state is possible, because those which are the backward state or underdeveloped state, they will get technical knowledge, they will get money from various international organizations like WTO, IMF, etc., and in that process they can develop their own economy, and if they develop their own economy, they can satisfy their own people. But and as multinational companies are also coming, so nowadays the concept of state sovereignty is somehow different. States are no doubt their sovereign institution, but in economic field they must have to keep them away, and they must have to give chance to other international organizations as well as individual and other private agencies of their country to flourish. So neoliberalism means that approach which is in favor of globalization, and which is also in favor of utmost individualism, which is favor of free trade, open trade, and which is also criticize the Soviet system and find out that Soviet system, if we adopt that type of system, that will not work in these days. So this is in nutshell about neoliberalism. Thank you.